Hey guys, went to Cannes for a week actually, at the marketing festival in the south of France. What you're about to see is the correlation of 3 days jammed up, highlight reel. Hope you enjoy it. You got your perspective. I just want to be happy. Don't you want to be happy?
Gary, your most valuable career tip?
Bless you. I would go with self-awareness. I think that we need to put that word on a much bigger cultural pedestal, really getting to a place where you understand yourself. And I would say self-awareness needs to be kind of like oxygen. It's a 24/7 thing. When you're 22 and you're wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, there's something that you really want. And then at 26 you fall in love and you want a different, like, you've got to really check that at all times. Like, what are you up to? Is it about currency? Is it about legacy? Is it about fulfillment, work-life balance? Like, I'm sure everybody here has gone through maybe one cycle of going all in, but then looking for more balance and then going back all in. And so I think you've got to know what you're good at. I mean, the reality is, you know, I watch so many people try to fix their shortcomings, and where I just wish that they would triple down on their super strengths, where I think would just be far better for them. This deep fake thing really is fascinating. If you think about AI's advancement, like, I'm like, wow, we're talking about a half decade from now where this shit's gonna be perfect, and now what? Yeah. Are we just only in a place where like you could, you know, it's so funny, the openness of the internet was something I understood. I think we're gonna see a big, like, I almost feel like I'm just gonna be live streaming at all times to prove it's me and what I have to say. Like, everybody thinks it's gonna close. I even just started saying the closeness. My counter move to the closeness is complete onness.
Yeah. I mean, there's
if I stream every minute of my life, there should be no debate if I ever said it, because it's documented if I did or didn't. I can prove that I didn't. You've been watching me at all times. Some Truman Show shit. What's your hot take on that?
Well, I mean, we've
spent
this time, like, when I say we, I mean all of us, we've all spent this era of like being used to the idea of like, oh, if it's on video, it happened, right? And so like eyewitness footage, I mean, that's the thing that scares me, especially from international places where we don't actually have a window in necessarily because there's not a free press. And like now we're gonna be having, we have this new dynamic that's coming in. We're gonna have to evaluate everything on this new level.
Yeah,
the world is not ready for that.
No, because as you know, that means people are just gonna go into their prejudices.
Yeah.
By having the ability to say deep fake, now you can basically say that didn't happen, right? Like this horrific bullshit of the police in Phoenix, if you want to be on the side of racism, you can just say that's a bullshit video.
Yeah.
That fucking hurts.
I know.
I agree, listen.
That's the scary part.
Listen, there is a complete restructuring of our society in our faces right now. Nationalism on the rise. Deep, to your point, I mean, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
We have lived for 100 years on the assumption of if it's on film, it's true.
Yeah.
And we are about to enter the era of that not being true. I often talk about being a shield to give them courage. I'm very proud that especially for a lot of immigrant kids or a lot of people, like, I'm giving them permission. I'm so comfortable with judgment against me that I'm giving them room to try something, and if it fails, they can say, well, Gary, you know, I want to take the blame for them to give them the step. My observation from the far is you do that for a lot of people, and I think that is an incredible gift to give. When I say that, when I frame that up, does that make sense to you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
Tell me how you observe that.
Because, Gary, I always say that the single best moment of my life, and by the way, this wasn't a single moment, it was a gradual realization. But the best moment of my life was the day that I realized I no longer give a damn what anybody thinks.
Go figure.
And that is the only way to live your life. And
Preach.
I especially communicate that message to women, because from the moment we're born as women, everything around us conspires to make us feel insecure about absolutely everything to do with ourselves.
Yeah, the infrastructure.
The way we look, the way we talk, the way we dress, nice girls do this, nice girls don't do that. Women spend the rest of our lives coming back from that, and some of us never do. Yep. And so I want to shortcut that process for every woman, but also, to your point, for everybody who is worried about what other people think, because honestly,
which is everybody.
Yeah, which is everybody, but don't
And
be,
Sydney,
because that's the worst way
Sydney,
to be.
I think I also observed this again because we don't know each other that well. I observed this from you as well, which I really appreciate. And at times when people have been at a dinner table, your name gets brought up. You know, this is what happens to me too. And I go, be careful. I'm like, if you watch her interact, and I'm proud of this as well. One thing that's amazing that I think you do extremely well is not giving a fuck what anybody thinks does not mean you do not hear other people.
Oh no.
But that's an important
absolutely.
clarity.
Yeah, no, you're,
like this is not audacity.
No, you're right. I mean, don't give a damn what other people think in a good way. You know,
That's right.
i.e. live your life and work your work according to your values
I
and what you believe in.
You do a really good job of bringing awareness to things, to put pressure or to bring conversation, and I have watched you bring awareness to something. Hey, this is not tweet, I don't like this, or what's our take on this, or whatever it may be. I've watched people that are on the receiving end of that 99% of the time not answer. Of the left 1%, 0.9% of defend with bullshit.
Yeah.
But occasionally I've seen in that 0.1% remaining, somebody giving clarity, context, and you were extremely quick to also hear it. And this is not you rallying people are rallying a mob. It pisses me off. I've watched you mold, and I do the same thing. Like sometimes people say something to me. A friend of mine, Ted, the other day said, "Hey, I don't like your definition of an entrepreneur. By nature, you're not one." I watched the video, and I'm like, he's right. I worked for my dad, and this definition of never working for anybody is not a good definition. I need to clarify it. I'm a little worried about, like, you know, I'm trying to protect over entrepreneurship. So in that, I can get excited sometimes, and you're throwing out headlines, and it was an incredible back and forth and I've seen that from you, and that, for me, is why I so desperately wanted you here today. It's why, for me, I adamantly support a lot of what you do. Talk about that. Like, not giving a fuck, but actually having the capacity to hear when somebody has a counterpoint that may penetrate your psyche as you're going through the conversation.
Well, I think, you know, all I'd say to that, Gary, is that when you actually don't care what other people think, that frees you up to just hear people for real, as opposed to worrying all the time about what other people think, and therefore having that lens obscure the truth of something that you should be looking at differently.
Know so many people at this point. Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
Good, man.
Dude, I'm so
good to see you.
Podcast.
Hey,
are
it's
you enjoying it?
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah,
much more than I thought I would.
Dude,
it's just fun.
You don't even that just gave me this look, goosebumps. You know why? I haven't even started. I wanted the first 10. This is Harriet, who runs comms. She runs comms at VaynerX.
Oh, hi.
Jim is doing a podcast with
We do 5 this week. I'm here tomorrow afternoon, man.
I'm Jim Stengel, and my mission in life is to help brands find their purpose and activate it. Earlier in my life, I was the Procter & Gamble Chief Marketing Officer looking out over hundreds of brands around the world. You may not know it, but the CMOs of all of your favorite brands are really trying to bring purpose to life in their brands. And on this show, you're going to learn their lessons, how they delve into it. And you're also going to learn about the habits and practices and rituals of these remarkable people in how they work, in how they play, and how they thrive. Right here on the CMO Podcast.
A lot of people don't want to know the exact roadmap, right? They want to know if you have confidence where you got it. So you're saying, I got it from my parents. But then, not in the same breath, but in the same conversation, you're saying, fuck your parents. So what if you don't have that support to make that confidence? Where does that come from?
So everybody's gonna have different situations and different serendipities. So it's not just my parents. Like, I got self-esteem injected from my mom, which is a huge variable, which is why I put her on the huge pedestal. And to your point, not everybody gets that. Somebody may get that later from their spouse. I would argue if my dad was here, he would tell you that any progression in his self-confidence came when I came into his life and started making him feel like he did something, because he grew up under a mom who didn't give him confidence. So at the same token, to your point, when I'm saying fuck your parents, I'm saying it's more of a way to break through to kids to say, look, you need to lean into your truth. You need to, you need to have empathy for why your parents are giving you the advice. But the reality is, this is gonna be your life, and you're gonna have to deal with the ramifications. So, by the way, even though my mom or somebody else who's lucky enough to have a mom instill enormous amounts of self-esteem into them, doesn't mean that same mom may not have an ideological point of view on you being a doctor. Yep. So it's not one or the other. They're kind of like carved out separate things. And back to the point of all of this, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that I'm really excited about clarifying in the next half decade is, look, I don't think I'm right about anything. I think that I'm right for me. I read a lot of feedback, and these are observations from one man's point of view, and then you need to take it and understand what to do with it. One of the things I'm most passionate about right now is there's a lot of cultures, especially in Asia and India and other places, where not listening to your parents is a massive disrespect, massive problem. It's being disobedient. The amount of times that I've seen the word not behaving and being disobedient and has been unbelievable in the last 2-3 months. They're like, Gary, you don't understand, like, I can't do that. Like, that is just like a death blow. And I'm like, you don't understand. That's exactly what you need to do, because here's the alternative. You're gonna be 39 years old, walk into your parents' fucking living room for some nice tea and tell them to go fuck themselves and never talk to them again. I'm trying to save relationships by telling people to fight their parents now, because what always happens in this scenario is it dies later. Right? Then they marry somebody, that spouse loves them and is like, don't let your parents control your life. It becomes all fucked up with the mother-in-law and the sister-in-law and the brother-in-law, you know, right? Like, fuck.
Yeah.
What's way better is go do what you want to do, but then deal with the ramifications. The other shoe in my conversation of go do what you want is if you go on and fail, you have to give the point to the parents. That's the part that nobody wants to hear of. Like go fuck your parents is super fun. Yeah. When your parents wanted you to do something, but you didn't have self-awareness and you just wanted to be like me, and you started a fucking startup company and you fail, you have to be okay with going back and not necessarily saying your parents were right, because you never wanted to be a doctor, but acknowledging you lost. Yep. Like, delusion doesn't work. It leads to depression. Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy. Wish you nothing but the best, bro. Cheer for you all the time. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. That was so good.
Can you give a little context for what this was?
Yeah, hey guys, that was just me on the Jim Rome Show. Rome is Burning, one of the iconic sports personalities of all time. I was on his show like 3 years ago, just like this, like outside at Cannes. Like, he loved it. It was the first time I was on his show. We had dinner in LA once or twice. I like him. He was very gracious to give me a platform today to talk about our Topps partnership. If you're watching this video or listening to it, if you don't know, Topps Series 2, Garyvee, the Garyvee's Top Entrepreneurs in Baseball, one of the most exciting things I've ever done. I highly recommend you go out to your local hobby store, or Topps.com or Walmart, Target, and buy a couple of packs. Let me know if you pulled the Garyvee card. You could probably tell by my tone, like literally one of like the greatest fucking things I've ever done.
Work 2020 challenge. We're coming up with a campaign that needs to launch by September.
On Alexa.
Run for 18 months.
It's on Alexa to...
It's a voice strategy and AWS campaign with creative technology. It's not just a skill or technology, it's an overall campaign.
360.
Save the world. Similar to Global Citizen last year.
Bring as much awareness to it to actually save the world.
Is this feasible? Can it launch? Will people care? That was my thing this morning, because they were telling me their idea. I said, no one's going to use this. You can say that too. Because I think that if they launch an idea that solves the problem but isn't engaging or encouraging for people to actually not just use once but repeatedly engage with and care about,
well, then that means it's not solving the problem.
Exactly.
Its ambition is to solve the problem.
So they were arguing with me, but
the consumer will speak in the end.
I said, if you might win, the judges might like your idea, but you're not going to win if it doesn't actually launch and isn't used. So go-to-market strategy is important as well.
Trophies aren't fun when your business sucks.
Good quote. Like it.
Have you guys spent any time on trying to tackle the fact that it's become a political issue? So I think the biggest issue, like when I do these things, I actually want to try to do something about it. I'm not just here for like the sake of a competition. I think the biggest issue with climate is not, collecting data. It's that half the world has decided it's not an issue because the politics of that country or that side of the country has decided. Has there been anything for you to, have you debated that? Because I think one of the things that you might, great, so you're gonna have a massively tiny percentage of the most extreme social liberal people in each society get so compelled that they're gonna do the actual work, but that's gonna be a very, very, very small group, and I'm wondering, has there been any discussion of that truth amongst you? And has there been any comms planning or any debating amongst you to not how we're gonna convince people that the Paris Accord matters or climate matters, but maybe galvanize the 50% that do, that are maybe, I believe in it very heavily, I will never do this. Not because I don't believe, but because I don't like to do that, I don't wanna do work. And so I'd rather, one tough thing with a lot of extremely social liberal people is a lot of them are also affluent and they wanna use money instead of doing. So for example, I wanna save the world, just like any good person, but I wanna use my money to do that or influence, not actually do work. So for example, playing that out, one of the things that we may recognize here is this may skew very young. As activism and doing the right thing has become cool, younger, 18-year-old me did not have as much money, but did want to be cool. So I would think a lot about communication here of getting people that will actually do it. How do we make this a status symbol? See where I'm going? Could really give you a chance of making this actually happen. Because the biggest issue with things like this is you're telling us through communication that you should be doing this. And immediately, how humans actually work is, fuck you. My mom has cancer. The fuck are you telling me to take pictures of the fucking world? That's why we're losing on big issues. Doesn't work. That's why we have nationalism and extreme rightness growing. We did a lot of this for 15 years and nobody liked it. And now we have so this has no shot unless you're thoughtful about either building status in the youth and then they'll do the work, because everybody else who believes in it is too affluent and doesn't want to do work, and everybody else who believes in it but isn't affluent and is older is just trying to make ends meet. Very important. This is why all these things die. We're not empathetic in our little meeting here. Yeah, so think about that. I think that will help you have a, you see where I'm going with that? I think it's good perspective. You probably could tell by the way I'm articulating it, I spend a lot of time thinking about that. A lot of that. Because I want so many things to happen in the world, but most of my friends that see it the same way, they go into pontificating and scolding instead of actually trying to get it done. That's the danger. And this requires work. 10 photos, 50 photos. Badges within an ecosystem that doesn't mean anything fucking means nothing. Right? So how are you gonna make that connection point? That's super important to me.
So by status, you mean how do we give them?
Let me give you a left field thing. How do we make a hoodie and then put it on a bunch of rappers and soccer players and other things that matter, and then people find out actually the only way you can get that hoodie is if you use this app and get to the badge level. You gotta make the hoodie cool. Having 50-point badge, to your point earlier, we're gonna incentivize with Amazon actions. I do think that works. I like where you went with that. My intuition though is monetary value won't be enough on such an altruistic thing. But having a limited edition hoodie that everybody thinks is, see where I'm going? I think people have to think more. I always dream about how people want to use Beyonce and all these people, and I'm like, I would probably have Beyonce wear something crazy when she makes the announcement, make it about that thing, like what you're wearing, which is rad, and then hope everybody wants it, and then we tell the world, oh, you want that? Here's how. See where I'm going?
Yeah.
Because this, out of all of them, has a lot of friction. You're asking people to do a lot. You're relying on incentives and badges. We need those things to mean something first, otherwise nobody does anything. Fortnite meant something first, then you can do gamification, not the other way around.
Yeah, so totally understand.
Good.
And we don't have the exact answer.
And you don't need to, right? Like to me, with only 10 minutes, I take, it's funny, I don't come here to check a box or because I like Michelle. I want to really bring value. So like what I'm trying to do here, I think I did, right? Which is I'm listening. Then I'm like, okay, it's this. Now you can go back and that's what you need to work on. That's all fine and dandy, but like, it's like, it's the biggest problem on social issues. We're trying to convince people to change their mind who are worried about making ends meet. You think somebody who's making, entry-level salaries cares about the Paris Accord? They do not. It's third-generation wealthy people. You understand? Or the youth. But the youth will change its mind fast. So we have to make it cool. Status. Got it? That's why I believe companies have the biggest chance to change the world. Because you're wearing that polo for a reason. You're trying to communicate. That's what fashion has, right? This is my argument on plastic bottles. I keep telling people, as long as Fiji and Smart Water is status, you're not changing jack shit. Status. Got it? Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
The classic like art director, copywriter, team model, since you guys have your crazy wild west WhatsApp with the client, how do you feel about, the copywriter and the art director working together? Does that
we love it.
Work for you?
Yeah, we have that the one thing that we have is every account, and we don't have this everywhere all the way yet because we're just rolling this out, but we're really close now. Every account has 3 full-time creatives, 100% dedicated to the logo, even when it's a $500,000 fee account. And that person is a copy person, a design person, and then what we call a shredder. She or he is doing film and post-production as one person, kind of what D-Rock does for me. And again, as you can imagine, that production value when you're making 5,000 pieces of content is not necessarily the films that, it's native. It's the shit that you actually like when you're consuming content. And some of it can be very high production value and we just chop a bunch down, and some of it could be grab your iPhone, make this video on the counter and post it. So they are there, and then above them are teams, art and copy, CDs, and what's happening is the core creator team is very allocated, 100% on one account. As you go up, those teams are spread out more, but they're all making. I mean, the thing I put the most pressure on Adam and Mike about is, I need you on the way to work, write a tweet for Budweiser or Rolling Rock to set the tone that if our GCDs are making, this is a making culture. You have people that start hitting GCD level that never make a single thing for 7, 10 years, make a single thing. So like one thing that I would love for all of you to do is start a little side hustle of trying to sell something on Shopify and Amazon, and then be the marketer of that. Like buy like 50 t-shirts, put it on Shopify, but then go do ads on Instagram, Snap, buy a pre-roll, podcast ad from a small podcast and write the copy for the read. Be a practitioner. That's why I walk with such audacity and like confidence, is I know nobody here does. They'll get into a debate. I'm like, you're talking about an MMM, and you're talking about Ipsos. You're talking about subjectiveness. I'm talking about truth. So it's always a very exciting conversation to get into a debate with somebody from the industry, because they're living within the industry, not what we're supposed to be doing. It's ideology versus practicality. Ideology always loses unless you start making it practical. Everybody wants everybody else to change the world.
I want to change the world.
So then you can only do it by doing.
I don't know how.
That's what you have to
But
practice.
I know why. I have philosophy.
Everybody knows why. Everybody's got fucking ideas. You have to do.
So let's zoom out for just a moment, because we're also still even just focused on a campaign mindset, because we're still just talking about marketing. But the human on the other side is experiencing things in e-commerce, in retail, they're calling a call center, they're dealing with a chatbot, there's all this stuff that they're touching. And I guess my question is, can we aspire to a world where more of those things are actually fueled by the same intelligence and approach, or is it something that's too ambitious to tie marketing and customer experience together and really connect the dots around humans?
It's going to be required. It's, that's the beauty of innovation and truth. Ultimately, it wins. It didn't matter what all the people with the medallions on their taxis thought about Uber in New York. It happened. It didn't matter what all the networks thought about Netflix. It happened. It didn't matter what Walmart thought about Amazon. It happened. What we plan on being one of the people in this industry of doing, and many others I hope follow, and many of the people here, I come here not to recruit or pontificate, I come to inspire people to build their own independent shops so they can do the work that they want to be doing versus what they have to be doing. That's how we'll change the industry. And that's gonna happen with me or not. I may have a chance to buy the New York Jets next year and then I'll move on my merry way. But the reality is that will be a requirement for this industry. And when you talk about guys, how many normal people in life even know this week is happening? 0. Normal, end consumers have no idea of this world, the things we talk about. Like, they just live. On brand is my favorite thing. Gary, that's off brand. I'm like, you get to decide? You, the brand manager of an opinion of one, decide what's on brand because you interpreted a sentence which a copywriter wrote as the brand, what it stands for, and you've decided this isn't aspirational living for the modern man? Get the fuck out of here. So I apologize, but yes, all of this is gonna matter. And I will say this, much of what I pontificate around volume of creative, being empathetic, creating 30, 40 meaningful cohorts to attack, not one. What is 18 to 35? Are you kidding me? The reason we have so many issues with diversity and gender issues in creative is because we have one 30-second spot. What, are you gonna put everybody in it? Like, it's crazy. We need a complete shift in our mindset of creative. We need to stop demonizing quantity in this industry. Quantity does not come at expense of quality. It's an excuse for those who do not want to do. And so we have a lot of things to work on.
Gary, what is your favorite word?
Empathy. I think that empathy is something that, obviously I've started a wine brand. Somebody showed me a word cloud 3 years ago and everybody thinks I'm hustle and fuck and all this, and sure enough, in my word cloud, analyzed every word for me, empathy, kindness, gratitude, patience. I understand how I manifest in my DNA on stage, but the way I drive what I do day to day, internally and results, is 100% predicated on empathy. First for my employees, second for my clients' customers, third for my clients. That is a very different framework than everybody else rolling around here, which is why we will win in the end.
On that note, Gary, I want to thank you.
Thank you, guys. Hello. Hi. We have 2 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna try to go fast. Fear? I think for me, because I was an immigrant, because I had bad grades, my whole life I was losing, that by the time I was a grown-up, losing and fear didn't mean anything to me. So I got lucky in so much adversity as a child. I think if you haven't had that, or even if you had that, you still fear it because of the way your parents judged, you have to practice. It's, like you have to practice doing things that you are scared of. It's very true. It's like, when people talk to me about fear, it feels so heavy. I'm like, it's like swimming or kissing a boy. You were scared of that when you were young until you did it, and then you were, or talking to me, right? But then practice gets you there. So you have to practice things that feel scary, and then you'll get more used to them. It's the truth. It's just the truth. Yes.
So tell me,
yes.
I've just had a very quick briefing here from Harriet, but I gather you've got a little bit of a different take on the market than
A little bit of a different take, yes. I think that we need a more progressive conversation on volume of creative, that the industry needs to start not demonizing quantity.
Okay.
This notion that quality is given up when you do a quantity of creative is a huge misnomer, and something that I think would really benefit the industry and most of all the brands.
In what way would it benefit?
Most brands can't make relevant creative because they're not making enough creative to hit the many different cohorts they need to be talking to. And so they end up making one vanilla piece of video.
No, I see what you mean. Don't speak, because I want to just get this down with in your great words. I'm sorry, they're not making enough creative to hit all the cohorts, so just making one vanilla piece of work. Okay.
You know, we are too infatuated with reach and not enough around relevance. And if you don't make 70, 400, 3,000 pieces of meaningful content, you can never create actual relevance.
Yeah, okay.
But if you go walk the streets right now, one of the worst words in the creative community is volume and quantity.
That's very true, yeah.
And that needs to be cut. We need to have a more thoughtful conversation around it.
Yeah, they're bad words at the moment.
They are.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, funny enough, I was at a HBO session yesterday where they were saying, oh, how can you increase your output without sort of losing the secret sauce of HBO, you know, volume, and how can you do that without sacrificing?
That in the form of a 1 hour drama is a far more interesting debate than trying to communicate a toothpaste or a shampoo or a soda pop to the end consumer, right?
Yeah.
You know, if I'm trying to sell, what we know about long form video, theater, movies, television is some shows are not meant for everybody. We have 4 people here, and that's okay.
That's fine.
Meanwhile, we have this audacious conversation that this 30-second spot's supposed to make everybody inspired to buy.
That's very true.
HBO does do a lot of creative.
Yeah,
they have many different shows. If HBO was a creative agency, they would have one show.
Yeah.
I would say the inflection points for me have been the hiring or acquisitions like PureWow and Ryan and Mary Kate. It's just been people. Our inflection point has just been people. It's when I've made good decisions instead of bad decisions, of people who I can dance with for a long period of time, and it's unbelievable to me how much of the variable is casting. I think about business more and more every day, like I think about sports, right? When the Knicks had Clyde Frazier and Willis Reed and Earl the Pearl Monroe, they won championships. When they have the bums that have been wearing the jerseys for the last 25 years, they don't. And so a lot of people talk about teams as being good and not good. It's the casting within it. You know, we have a lot of the casting, you know, it's been the human decision making. It's been the 17 to 44 people that have disproportionately impacted the business, and every time I made that right call, and by the way, every time I made the wrong call, it's slowing down opportunity, and I think to me it's very heavily predicated on people. Guys, if you the amount of you that are not subscribed to this channel is devastating. Please subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know how you like the 3-day mashup. We're always listening.